I have something that I'm pretty alarmed about that I wanted to talk to you about, and I wanted to warn you about, because I see this as a very bad sign. Now, we know people have been talking about the purposeful burning down of, food plants, and then the over 10,000 cattle that croaked over dead for some reason. And we know what the elites believe about population and all of that. And I see this as a very scary warning sign. And that is, you kind of take for granted places that you go to buy stuff. For example, what I'm going to be talking about is a place that is a rental and feed store. And this store has been in business for something like 40 years with the same family. And my mom, my dad, they all knew these people. And I was always going in there. They knew me. But this is where Mom and I would always go to buy these very large bags of sunflower seeds and other types of bird seeds like millet, and some of the special bags had peanuts and pieces of cherries, pieces of fruit, blueberries that were dried. And they would sell all of these, not only bags of bird seed, but they had, like hummingbird feeders and bird houses, and then they had dog food, cat food. But one of the things that's alarming to me is that they supplied hay and food for horses, anything that a horse needed or, cows needed and farmers needed. They supplied all of these things. And they were there from years and years ago when, practically when we first moved here. And the same family owned this place. It was super hot today, first of all. Not only is there 100 degrees on the thermometer, but it also says there's a heat advisory advising people, like me that have diabetes and stuff, not to go out in it. And also there's an ozone warning, which means it feels twice as hot as what the real temperature says. So you feel like you're pot roast in an oven. And so I went out there to get my mail for the weekend before they closed, when I was about ready to leave. And so I was sitting across from this feed store, and I looked up and I saw the whole place was gutted. The sign was gone. There was a huge for sale sign standing on a stand, and there were signs plastered in the windows. And I was shocked, because these people have always been there. Like my whole growing up, they've been there. And all of a sudden they're not there. And I thought last week, gosh, I wish I could go back in the store and buy some bird seed for my doves, The sad thing is that they had a little bird feeder on the fence, and that was gone. So all the birds that depended on that food, they're not going to get the food from there now. My doves, blue jays, and, all of the birds that we had at home, Bunnykin and her whole family, they stopped getting all the seeds in the food that I gave to them 2 years ago. That they were deprived, and suddenly there was nobody there to feed them the seeds or give them the water. Because I took care of my animals, as the Bible says that a righteous man takes care of their animals. And during blizzards or during, horrible heat like this, they need assistance sometimes, they need a little water to drink. So I was very alarmed, and after I finished eating, I walked across the street, and I just started sobbing because, I asked the waitress what happened to the feed and rental store, and she said that the gentleman that owned it and co-owned it with his son, they said that they could no longer afford to keep the business. You know why? Because they couldn't get half the items in because of the supply chain mess created by this administration. These people have been long-time members of this society and community, and now it's like they're being ripped up and tossed out. So where are the farmers and other people going to get the seeds and the hay that they need to feed their horses and their farm animals? They're going to have to go to a completely different city and find a different feed store that's still open. But I'm telling you what a tragedy this is in our little community, because there's no other place like it. Now there's no place to go to buy the seeds for the birds and the animals, and everybody that did that now is going to have to find some other place to go find it. Now, when I started looking up and typed in, to see if other feed stores and rental stores were shutting down, to my shock, there were a whole bunch of them that had to close their doors in 2020 or 2021. And now in 2022, many of them are closing down. So this horrible supply chain issue has literally stopped this man from having the business he's had, that he's worked all his life to maintain with his wife. And I am so shocked and ticked off about it, because this is a lovely, wonderful family. And the guy, his name is Steve, that owns the store, and he's an older man now, and he said that he planned not to retire for at least another 10 years. Because of the horrible policies of this administration, these people are losing their 40-year-old business. And other ones I've seen, feed stores that were 43 years old, have closed their doors. This has a domino effect. The fact that he's lost his business now, the people can't go there and buy the seeds and buy the food for the animals. So that means that they're going to be deprived of food, and they're not going to be fed that way anymore, is alarming and appalling. And this is just, if this can happen to somebody who's built their life on that business, then it can be happening to anybody. Not to mention all the people that just started businesses. So, with all of the warnings of the preppers and all of that, I would say listen to what they're saying and pay attention, because this is a sign that things are going downhill, and the food supply and the food chain is going downhill. And also, what's really tragic about it is that the waitress told me that the person that initially bought the property of this gentleman's business did it to flip it. So basically it was like a slap in the face to these people who've worked 40 years or more to build that business. And it's just a real American tragedy for this to be happening to farmers and to those who sell feed and supplies to the farmers. And I would encourage all farmers not to listen to those telling you not to farm, and to continue to farm, and we out here will support you. Steve said he had no plans to relocate or retire for at least the next decade. They listed the business on March 8th, and within 10 days they had an offer for the building. He had not planned to retire or anything, and when he was asked what changed his mind, he was quick to answer. He said a lot of things. The economy is not very good right now. Half the stuff we order we don't get. That's causing supply problems. And then everything in the economy is really turning sour. And now it's time. And his son said that it has also been impossible to find help. My dad and I are putting in 60-hour weeks, and we can't keep going like that. The other business owners said, the feed store is iconic. It's a business that has defined 2nd Avenue for a generation. That piece of it is a huge loss. They expect to close the deal by the end of May. What's really sad to me is it's a very small, tight-knit community, and people that have been there for years and years, they know each other. And I care about these people. What happens to them? It's hard enough to be plucked out of your own home and have your mom die and have all of these bad things happen to you. But to have this happen to these people is just a wound on top of a wound. But this was where I grew up. It was my community, and it's really tough to see this on top of everything that's happened. And I just want to warn you guys and share what's happening, because if it can happen in my little town, it can happen anywhere. It is happening everywhere. And, let's get on our knees and pray and ask God to please have mercy on this country and have mercy on us, and to just restore our lives and restore us back to being close to the Lord. And please pray for Steve and his wife Kay and their son Tim, and just pray that God would bless them and be with them wherever they go, whatever they do now. And for me, it's a lot of years of going there to get seeds from my birds and my rabbits, and for my kitty cat when he was sick. And it's really hard to take. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you and warn you that this is happening, because, these birds and animals will not have seeds now. And who knows how many hundreds of people were their customers that would come in there and feed their animals. And I just say God bless the animals and supply all their needs. And I don't know what else to say. It's just that I wanted to tell you that if the feed supply stores start shutting down, the animals are going to be in trouble. And they're already talking about, shortages and famines and stuff like that. And I don't want to be an alarmist. When I last drove past there, everything was normal. The sign was up and, on the building and everything was normal. And I just had the thought, I wish I could go to the feed store and get seeds for my doves and everything. And then I went there today, and I looked inside the door, and it's got kind of like an old style vintage door, with a cool doorknob that, you push down and open, and, with a glass in it. And it just reminds me of old times and old businesses, and from long ago. And I looked in the door and, through the glass, and I could see the whole place was completely gutted of everything. And this is the second time that's happened. I had to leave our home after it was completely gutted. It's 2 years now. Today's the day, 2 years ago, that the people took it over. And really hard to get through, and it's been a tough road for me. So please just pay attention to what people are saying about stocking up a few things and protect yourself that way. And of course, we're going to trust God through everything. So I just wanted to share this story because it really touched my heart a lot. And I'm sorry that I'm crying, but it's a lot of losses in a very short time and very hard to deal with. And I know that God is with us, and He's been with me and kept me going through thick and thin. I had a lot of memories of that place, going there with Mom over the years. And, I would get my hummingbird food there, and I would mix it up and put it in the little hummingbird feeder, and I drilled all these holes in the porch and hung up my hummingbird feeders, and there's a lot of memories. And soon we're out of here. And that's what I gotta believe, that Jesus is coming. So we just gotta hang on and be prepared and keep in the Word of God and keep close to God at all times. So I'll talk to you later. I love you guys. Thank you for following my videos. And even if they pull the rug out from under me and my channel, it's just so stupid, I can't even believe it. But, it's just crazy. After 40 years of being in business, providing for the community, this man has to lose his business. It's just not right. It's evil, and it's just wrong. And I just ask for God's restoration of this country, because we need it. So with that, I guess I'll sign out. I'm sorry I got choked up, but I just have a lot of memories, and it's sad what happened to these people that didn't deserve this. So I ask you to keep them in your prayers. And I guess I'll sign out for the night. I'm sorry this was kind of a downer, but I just felt like I had to warn you, if the feed stores are going out of business that supply things, food for the farmers, we're in big trouble. We are in big trouble. And, the leaders are dragging us down this rat hole because that was their dream. Many years ago in the 1990s, I saw many articles that they were going to try to turn America into a third world country, and they're well on their way to trying to attempt it. And we just need to be in prayer, and now we know who the enemy is, and we can pray in opposition of the enemy. So I'm just going to say, well, good night for now.